I've been trying to call. I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe I'm going through withdrawals. You don't even have to do too much. You can turn me on with just a touch, baby. I look around and since it is cold and empty, no one's around to judge me. I can't see clearly when you're gone. And I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep right until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, when I'm like this, you're the one I trust. I'm running out of time, 'cause I can see the sun light up the sky. So I hit the road in overdrive, baby. Hit the road in overdrive. The city's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can't see clearly when you're gone. And I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, when I'm like this, you're the one I trust. I'm coming back to let you know I can never say it on the phone. But whenever let me go this time, I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. Feel free to be whoever you wanna be. Feel free to dance, feel free to sing, just feel free. Feels like the world is picking on ya. Feels like it's picking on me. But trying to please everybody, that ain't no way to be.
Hard to believe. Hard to believe. It is episode 60. Episode 60. We've already done 60 of these things. It's episode 60 of the Two Tone Talk podcast. I'm your host, Brad Steele, and we are barreling toward Monday in Miami. Almost sounds like the title of a horror film, doesn't it? Monday in Miami. Might be a horror film for the Tennessee Titans, who looks like they will have Derrick Henry, but they will be without Jeffrey Simmons. They will be without Christian Fulton, which some people might say they're better off. I don't know. I don't know who else we even have that could step in. But it doesn't matter because whoever it is going to have to be covering Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and they're just going to run right by him. Anyway, Titans are in trouble. But are they, though? I mean, listen. Some of you in the YouTube comment section, you tell me. On Monday night, when you tune in to watch the Titans play the Dolphins in Miami, are you tuning in hoping for a victory? Because it is the NFL. Crazy things happen every week. We just saw last night, I don't think many people were picking the Patriots to beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh last night, and yet it happened. Crazy stuff happens all the time. So are you Titans fans, are you rooting for something crazy to happen Monday night? Do you want the Titans to beat the Dolphins Monday night? That's something like the Titans are mathematically not eliminated, but they could be after this week. I think if they lose to Miami and then certain teams here and there win, they could be mathematically eliminated by this time a few days from now. But as of right now, the Titans are still mathematically alive. So what kind of fan are you? Are you the type of fan who is going to tune in Monday night and root for the Titans to beat the Miami Dolphins and keep their head above water for another week? Or are you the type of fan who is going to tune in and honestly kind of just hope they lose because the draft is starting to take shape? Titan Fox in the chat says, as always, I am hoping for a victory. Same as the last 25 years. I understand. I can sit here and I can say, we need to lose. It'd be better off to lose, get a better draft pick, move up in the draft. Be better off to lose. We're pretty much out of the playoff hunt anyway. I can say that. I can say it tomorrow. I can say it the next day. But Monday night, when I tune in and the Tennessee Titans take the field, I don't care what anybody says as fans. And I don't care. I know we have fans of different teams that listen and watch. As a fan, I don't think we are wired to tune in and actively root for our team to lose. I don't think we are wired that way. Even when it makes more sense to root for our team to lose. As Titans fans, it probably makes more sense to root for the team to lose. Let's get a better draft pick and let's look to the future. But as fans, I don't think we are genetically wired that way. I don't think we have that in us to tune in. You mean to tell me if you tune in and watch the game Monday and let's say gets down to the fourth quarter and the game is somehow tied and the Titans have a chance to go get a late drive and win the game, you mean to tell me you're actively going to root for the Dolphins to get a stop? No. You're not going to do that because that's just not what we do as fans. We might come back the next day and say, it's probably better off that we lost. But in that moment, you want your team to win. Insider Evan says the best case scenario, in my opinion, is that the Titans lose about 35-31, and the young guys like Levis, Spears, and all the others show a lot of promise and have great games. Certainly. I mean, whether you think they should win or lose or whatever, there are some guys that I have said for weeks we need to be watching with a magnifying glass. Of course, one of them is Will Levis, Tyjae Spears, Peter Skoronski, Jalen Duncan, Dylan Radins, Josh Wiley, Chig Okonkwo, Traylon Burks, Kyle Phillips, when given the opportunity. What is going on with Kyle Phillips? Can somebody please explain to me? Like, I understand Kyle Phillips has not exactly been lighting the world on fire or anything, but, like, in terms of young guys on this team, I actually thought Kyle Phillips was showing some promise. In that Steelers game back on Thursday Night Football, I thought he played well. Against, there's a couple other games I thought that he did okay. So I can't believe that on Sunday against Indianapolis, he was a healthy scratch. What? Why? Again, I'm not saying it would have made a difference. I'm not saying Kyle Phillips would have changed the outcome of the game. But what? Why exactly is Kyle Phillips not dressing out? I mean, it's like once you get past DeAndre Hopkins, this is still a team desperate for some wide receiver, depth. Like, on Sunday against Indianapolis, Nick Westbrook-Akine had one catch. Chris Moore had one catch. Traylon Burks had no catches. Like, in terms of wide receivers, forget the tight ends. Just in terms of wide receivers, outside of Hopkins, we don't really have anybody that we can consistently throw to. So I don't understand why we're in a position to be looking at somebody who's actually, as Chandler just said, Kyle Phillips has probably been Will Levis' second favorite target behind Hopkins. And against Indianapolis, he's a healthy scratch. And judging by what I'm reading on Twitter, he might be a healthy scratch Monday night. And I don't get it. Even if you are looking to the future, looking to next season, whatever, isn't that one of the guys that you would like to have out there getting that experience? Kyle Phillips, I mean, and especially for a guy who I thought was showing some flashes of that he could contribute to the offense. But he sure can't if he's a healthy scratch. There's not anything wrong with him. He's not hurt or anything. I don't get that at all. But that would be one of the guys that you would look at with a magnifying glass looking to the future. But, we'll see. As far as the offensive line right now, I still think we need 2 new tackles. I think Jalen Duncan can play a role on this team. I think he could be the 6th man that kind of comes in, but I don't think he's a starter right now. I don't think Dylan Radins is a starter right now. I still am not confident in Aaron Brewer. But we definitely need 2 new tackles this offseason, and we'll see what the Titans do about that. But for right now, I guess we will continue to watch Jalen Duncan and Dylan Radins for the rest of this season. And who knows, if they improve, maybe you could talk me into at least one of them coming in. Charlie says, why not let Caleb Murphy get some reps and experience? Yeah, I mean, maybe. Here's the thing. You got 5 games left. Assuming the miraculous doesn't happen, the Titans will eventually be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. It could happen this week, could be next week, could be the next whatever. But at some point, the Titans are going to be mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. And at that point, I hope that allows Mike Vrabel to say, okay, we're officially eliminated. We're mathematically eliminated. Let's look to next year and let's look to some of the guys that we feel like can maybe help us next year. And then maybe let's get a look at guys like Caleb Murphy. Let's really try to get guys like Kyle Phillips involved in the game plan to see kind of where we're at. Because here late in the season, the Titans are going to be playing playoff caliber teams. And it starts Monday night. Miami, Houston, Seattle, Jacksonville again. You've got playoff teams, that you're going to have to play. And so this is a good opportunity, win, lose, or draw, for some of these young guys to get experience against good teams, experience that they can take forward. That goes for Levis. That goes for guys like Roger McCreary. That goes for guys like Jalen Duncan. All of those guys. I was looking at the NFL draft order currently as it stands, just the top 10. Currently, of course, the Carolina Panthers hold the top pick, which ultimately belongs to the Chicago Bears. Sucks to be Carolina. But Chicago has a top pick, and honestly, I think that's going to stay. I mean, I just don't see... As a matter of fact, let me pull up the Carolina Panthers' remaining schedule here, for these last few weeks. They've got the Saints, they've got the Falcons, the Packers, the Jags, and the Bucks. You would need them to get on some kind of a hot streak through these last 5 games, and they're already mathematically eliminated. I think they'd be lucky to even win one of those games. So I think I think that the Bears will remain the number 1 pick in the draft via Carolina. I just don't see Carolina going on a hot enough streak to win some games here, because they're playing teams that they should not beat. Jacksonville, Atlanta, New Orleans. I don't think they're going to beat any of those teams. So they'd be lucky to get one more win the rest of the year. New England, listen. New England's currently the number 2 pick. They're 3-10. They got a win last night. Hey, listen, if you are a Titans fan who's wanting to move up in that draft, you need to send a thank you letter to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because the Steelers, within the span of a few days, lost to the Arizona Cardinals and the New England Patriots, who were both 2 games ahead of Tennessee in the draft. Now they're only 1, because they both beat Pittsburgh. So, the Patriots are at 2, they're 3-10. Arizona is at 3, they're 3-10. My gut feeling is Caleb Williams. If things stay like this, I think Caleb Williams will probably end up in New England. I personally, there are rumors out there that Chicago would take Marvin Harrison Jr. to get a weapon for Justin Fields, but there are rumors that the Bears may be done with Justin Fields. So, you could have the Bears take Caleb Williams and trade Justin Fields somewhere else. That's going to be an interesting talking point. But then you've got Washington 4-9, and then they're pick 4, and then you've just got a host of 4-8 teams. Chicago at 5, they're 4-8. The Jets are at 6, they're 4-8. The Giants are at 7, they're 4-8. And then you have the Tennessee Titans at pick number 8, who are also 4-8. You have 2 types of fans. You have some fans who are going to sit down Sunday afternoon and they're going to watch football games and they're going to root for certain teams to win or lose based on what it would mean for the Titans if the Titans miraculously won their last 5 games. Who would need to lose for us to get into the playoffs? You are going to have some fans who are going to watch games like the Colts and the Bengals this weekend, and they're going to root for a certain team to win. They're going to watch teams in the wild card race, and they're going to root for them to lose. There's going to be some people even rooting for the Jaguars to lose in the off chance that they lose out and we win out and all this crazy stuff. Okay. And you know what? Kudos to you. Do whatever you want to do. Then you're going to have some fans who are watching teams like the Giants and the Commanders and the Jets and teams like that who are ahead of the Titans in the draft order and rooting for them to win so that the Titans, should they lose to the Dolphins, which we probably all expect them to, can move up even higher. It is still possible that the Titans could end up with the number 2 pick in the draft. That's still possible. If the right teams win and the Titans keep losing, it's very possible that you could end up with the number 2 pick in the draft. So, and I personally believe the Titans very well could lose the rest of their games. I really believe they could finish 4-13 because I don't know of anybody that would pick them to beat any of these teams that we have left. Ain't nobody picking them to beat Miami. Ain't nobody picking them to beat Houston either time they play them. Ain't nobody picking them to beat Seattle, and ain't nobody picking them to beat Jacksonville. So, it's like, I think it is realistic the Titans could finish the season 4-13, in which case I think that probably lands you, I would say you have a good chance of being in the top 5 in draft picks. If you finish 4-13, you have a good shot. of being able to get one of those left tackles, or if you wanted to go wide receiver, you could. Obviously, I think you would have to be in the top 3 to land Marvin Harrison Jr., but there are a ton of other talent. We'll talk about the draft. We'll have plenty of time to talk about the draft, but, this is kind of where we're at this season. I mean, the Titans are 4-8, and this is unfortunately the type of things you have to talk about in the middle of the season when you're 4-8, and that is the draft and where you're going to end up in the draft and where you might be picking there and all that. And certainly, with Miami on the horizon in Miami on Monday Night Football, you would think the Titans will probably lose that game and drop to 4-9. And, that's just personally, I think, how we're all feeling. So, Wesley Barnes says the Titans are going to win out. I mean, as I said a second ago, listen, I got tons of respect for those fans. I'm telling you, those fans there are some fans who are going to tune in this weekend, and they are going to have their ideas of who needs to lose for the Titans to get in if the Titans start winning out. Those ultra optimistic fans, listen, my heart goes out. I love you. I love you for that. Absolutely. Till the bitter end, baby. I mean, let's find a way in. Let's run the table and hope the right teams lose, and let's get in. Hey, God, I love you for that. I love you for that. But you know what? There are some of you who are looking at the draft order and saying, hey, we probably need to lose. We need to lose this game. We need to lose the rest of them. And you know what? I love you for that too. Because you know what? There's a lot of debate on Twitter, and this happens when your team has a season like this, about, are you a bad fan? Are you a bad fan if you're kind of hoping your team loses out to get a... No, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's like saying, this is probably a terrible example, but it's like saying, are you a bad parent because you discipline your kids? Does it make you a bad parent when you ground your kids? Does it make you a bad parent when you have to spank your kid for acting bad? Does it make you a bad parent when you have to set your kid down and, give them a good talking to? No, because you love your kid. You are disciplining your kid because you love them. This is a terrible example. Listen, we love the Titans. We love the Titans, and we want to see the Titans win. For this season, that ship has long since sailed on by. Okay? But because we love the Titans, we want what's best for the team in the long run, and what's best for the team in the long run is not to squeak out a couple wins, finish 6-11, and then end up not being able to get as good of a draft pick, And then Charlie says in the chat, we could pick Jesus in the draft, and Vrabel will underuse him and his talents, kill his confidence. We need a change of swag in the locker room. We got to get some dogs. I mean, if you drafted Jesus, you're probably winning a Super Bowl, okay? I mean, you draft Jesus, I mean, you're probably going to be fine. But since Jesus is not eligible, I do understand. I mean, there are some fans who are fed up with Vrabel and, kind of the way he does it. I mean, I talked about it earlier. Kyle Phillips is a healthy scratch. Why? Let's talk about the 32-1 Two-Tone Talk power rankings. This is just how I see it, okay? Every week I say this. This is not just based on records and who won last week. This is how I see it as we head into this final stretch of the season. Can you believe we're already to the final stretch of the season? Here we go. The bottom three, I mean, of course, at number 32 is the Carolina Panthers, because of course it's the Carolina Panthers, because it's always the Carolina Panthers, because they're horrible. Number 31, I believe it's a team dropping a spot. Yes, they were 30 last week. This week they're number 31, the Washington Commanders. Horrible. Terrible football team, and it's a shame, because I thought they were going to be good. I thought they were going to be good this year. Number 30 is the New England Patriots. I know the Patriots got a win last night, but I still think the Patriots are terrible. And it's going to be interesting to see some of the moves they make this offseason. I mean, this could be, you might be about to watch the last month or so of Bill Belichick coaching the New England Patriots. It's crazy to think about. But just because they won last night, they're still in the bottom three. You don't get out of the bottom three just because you won one game. Okay, now we get into the 20s. Evan said Dennis Daly is the reason we suck right now. Hey, I'm down to blame it all on. I'm down to blame it all on Dennis. All right, here's the 20s. Number 29, you got the Giants. Tommy DeVito. And you know what? The Giants want to buy this week, but the Giants are on a 2-game win streak. All right, let's not just totally write these Giants off. Actually, I think the Giants are like 2 games out of a wild card spot. Hey, can you imagine the Tommy DeVito-led Giants? Number 28, the Bears. I mentioned it a little bit ago. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Bears. There's talks of them being willing to trade Justin Fields and draft a quarterback up there. They're going to probably have 2 picks in the top 6, 7 picks of the draft. One via Carolina and one via themselves. And there's talk, right, of them maybe going with Caleb Williams or one of these other guys and trading Justin Fields. So that's going to be a major talking point as we head toward the draft. But for right now, the Bears, massive disappointment. Number 27, speaking of massive disappointments, it's the good guys, the Tennessee Titans at number 27. I respect the fact that they came out. One thing I'll say about Vrabel, if you ever watch his press conferences, he talks a lot about we just want to go out and compete. We want to go out and be competitive. One thing I will say, the Titans are usually competitive. And that's a double-edged sword. There have been times this season where they have gotten whooped. Jacksonville whooped them. Cleveland whooped them. It has happened this year. But you look at a lot of the games they lost. They lost to the Saints by a point. They lost to the Colts by 3. Lost to the Colts the first time by less than a touchdown. Lost to the Ravens by a touchdown. It's probably their best effort of the year was managing to keep that Ravens game close. Lost to the Steelers by 4. So the Titans have been competitive, and I don't question their heart. I don't question their effort. I just think it comes down to it. It's a talent issue. It's a talent issue, and when the season's over and we look back on this awful season, I think it is there's just not a lot of talent. Like I said, the Titans have played the most undrafted players of any team in the league this year. They have started the most undrafted players of any team this year. That's not because they hit on a bunch of great undrafted guys. It's because they don't have enough talent. And with the money they're going to have and probably the draft pick they're going to have, they've got to really have a big offseason. Big offseason. But for right now, they find themselves in the slums of the NFL. Number 26, the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals, I feel like if they had Kyler Murray the whole year, they would probably be in the mix right now. I still think Kyler Murray, there's something there with him. Number 25, the Jets. Jets lost to the Falcons. They look horrible. I mean, the Jets, I guess they'll come back with Rodgers again next year. The Zach Wilson thing is just embarrassing at this point. It feels like he doesn't even want to be out there. Number 24, the Chargers. Chargers got the big 6-0 win over the Patriots the other day. We laugh, but it actually does kind of keep the Chargers in the hunt for a playoff spot. What a disappointment the Chargers have been, though. Number 23, the Saints. Saints are on a 3-game losing streak. They were getting their butts kicked by Detroit, and then they managed to make the score look respectable. But the Saints, they have the wrong guy at quarterback, I believe. Some talent on that roster, but I think that the play calling is sus, and the quarterback's not very good. Number 22, the Bucks. Bucks beat the Panthers on Sunday. The Bucks are still very much alive in the NFC South. I think they're 1 game back from Atlanta, and I believe they play Atlanta this Sunday. So that's a big game in the NFC South. But the Bucks are 22. I don't think the Bucks are going to make much noise here late in the year. Number 21, Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders. Kind of the same situation as the Saints. Like, talented roster. They just don't have a guy at quarterback right now. Let's move over to the other side of the screen. At number 20, it is the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons got an ugly, putrid win over the Jets, but I'll take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day. The Falcons get the win. They stay on top of the NFC South. And, they're talk about a team that doesn't have their quarterback. I don't think Ritter is the guy at all. But you know what? Falcons are winning games. Number 19, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have dropped down this list significantly from where they were last week. You want to know why? Here's how you drop down this list significantly. Lose back-to-back games to the Cardinals and the Patriots. That's how you drop down this list. They were 7-4 1 week ago. They were 7-4 this time last week with the Cardinals and the Patriots as their next two games. And I was like, dude, they're going to be 9-4. The Steelers don't even look good, but they're going to be 9-4. Never mind. They lose to the Cardinals and the Patriots. Again, if you're in the draft hunt in that top 10, you need to write a thank you letter to the Steelers for losing to both the Cardinals and the Patriots. Like, what an awful... And I think the Steelers... Honestly, I looked at their schedule last night. I don't think the Steelers are going to win another game. They got to play the Ravens. They beat the Ravens. They got to play the Colts in Indianapolis. I don't think they're beating them. They got to play Cincinnati in Cincinnati, I believe. And I think Cincinnati, the way they looked the other night, I don't think they're beating them. So I think the Steelers are going to miss the playoffs after being in a great position to make it. Number 18, the Vikings. The Vikings were off this week. They're getting Justin Jefferson back, and that's a difference maker. It'll be interesting to see how Josh Dobbs does with, and they're sticking with Dobbs, by the way, they said. So we'll see how Dobbs does with Jefferson. Obviously, the magic kind of feels like it's worn off of the whole Dobbs thing. Number 17, the stupid, idiotic, Dookie Poo Olympics Indianapolis Colts. Can't stand them. Hate everything about them. I vomit when I think of their logo. I want to go find a bridge and jump off of it and onto the Empire State Building on my eye. Like, that's literally what happens when I think of the Colts. I want to just punch something or someone when I think of their existence. It bothers me that organization exists. But they're playing well, and honestly, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I really do. I think they're going to make the playoffs as a wild card team. I'm going to be miserable having to watch them play extra games because the fact that they're going to make the playoffs means they're going to play at least one more game than all the other teams. And I hate watching the Colts. I hate looking at their stupid white or blue uniforms. I think their owner's on crack. Literally, and let's move on. Number 16, the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know. The Seahawks at one point looked like a shoo-in to make the playoffs, and now they're fighting for their lives. And they've had a tough schedule. I mean, the Seahawks are good enough to beat, the teams that are under them on this list, but they've had to play like some of those elite teams, Dallas, and they had to play. Of course, they play San Francisco twice a year. So, I mean, they've had a tough, they got to play the Eagles, I think, coming up. So, I mean, they've had a tough go. And so I think that's kind of cost them. They've had a tough schedule. Number 15, the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals, the other night, Browning just came in and looked great. Let me tell you something. Lest you think it's not important to have a guy like Jamar Chase lined up on the outside, it's important to have somebody that good. It can help elevate anybody, not to mention T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and all the other, Joe Mixon and all the other talent they've got there. But I thought that Cincinnati looked way better than I thought they would. And they got a huge win on the road in Jacksonville in a game nobody thought they were going to win on Monday night and kept their playoff hopes alive. I mean, they could still be a wild card playoff team. And, they beat Jacksonville's first Monday night game in their stadium in God knows how long, and they lost. Gosh, that's funny. That's comedy right there. Jaguars literally could be the leading contestants in the Dookie Poo Olympics for all I care. Number 14, the Browns. Speaking of the Dookie Poo Olympics, the Cleveland Browns, I think the Browns could very well do the same thing the Steelers are doing and just completely melt down and miss the playoffs. I mean, they've looked bad these last 2 weeks. They got whooped by Denver, and then they got whooped by the Rams the other day. I think the Browns are in danger of missing the playoffs because they've got some tough games ahead. They got to play Jacksonville on Sunday. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence looks like that one girl from Glee. I've been trying to figure it out for like 5-6 years who Trevor Lawrence looks like. He looks like that girl from Glee. She's like a cheerleader. I can't remember her name, but that's who he looks like. Anyway, the Browns, I think are going to lose on Sunday. I think the Browns are going to kind of go off a cliff here at the end. But it's good to see that they spent a bunch of money on Deshaun Watson. You know, I saw a tweet that said this, and it's very interesting. Joe Burrow is like done for the year, right? But Joe Burrow is still on the sideline, like talking with his teammates, trying to figure out a way to help win the game. Deshaun Watson's just sitting up in the press box with his girlfriend and his sunglasses on. He don't care. I'm telling you. Dark years are ahead for the Browns for wasting money on that guy. Number 13, the Rams. Hey, I think the Rams are going to make the playoffs, man. I think the Rams are playing solid. And you better not sleep on the Rams. I say this every freaking week, and I sound like a broken record. This team won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And they're looking good right now. Like, they're beating good teams. They're playing well. They beat the Seahawks. They beat the Browns. They beat the crap out of the Browns the other day. So look out for the Rams, okay? The Rams might sneak in there and surprise some people. Number 12, the Bills. The Bills were off this week. The Bills have been a disappointment. They're 6-6, and they've got a brutal schedule. I looked. They're in Kansas City this week, and then they got to host Dallas. They still got to play Miami at some point. Like, it is a brutal. I've said it before. If the Bills are going to get in the playoffs, they are going to have to earn it because they got a brutal schedule. And then number 11, the Broncos. Broncos country. Let's ride. They're number 11. They drop out of the top 10. I mean, they lost a tough one at Houston and a critical game in that AFC wildcard race. And I'm not going to say Denver. I'm not going to say that magic is worn off. But I will say, I think sometimes teams go on runs like Denver went on. And then by the time the season's over, you just forget it ever happened. Like, I think that could be something that happens with Denver. I think Denver went on a run where they looked good, and then I think by the time the season's over, everybody's just going to be like, hey, remember when the Broncos, like, went on that month run where they beat everybody? But who knows? Broncos don't have a terrible schedule the rest of the way. Let's get into the top 10. Number 10, the freaking Houston Texans. Another team I hate. But C.J. Stroud looks great. They lost one of their wide receivers is like done for the year. It wasn't Tank Dell, was it? Was Tank Dell the one that got carted off for them? At least he got a cart, unlike Trevor Lawrence. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that, but I mean for real, Trevor Lawrence, like it looked like he broke his ankle, and he didn't, and I'm glad he didn't. But my guy walked to the locker room. It's like, bro, if you can walk to the locker room, you either ain't that hurt or like this is a dookie poo organization. Yeah, and I know he said he refused the cart. Bro, that's your franchise quarterback. You don't get to refuse the cart. Get on the cart. Looking like the girl from Glee. The cheerleader girl that's like has the fondue for two. Anyway, the Texans are at number 10. I think the Texans could make the play. They could be a playoff team. They're young, so who knows, but we'll see. Number 9, dear God, who's number 9? The Green Bay Packers. Dude, the Packers. Can we talk about them? The Packers, who have come on strong and like beat the Chiefs the other night. What? Packers look good. I wouldn't want to play the Packers right now. They're not going to catch the Lions in that division. The Lions are like 3 games ahead of them still. But Like, the Packers are going to make a push right here. They're going to try and be a playoff team. And I swear if Jordan Love is good, I'm going to be mad because what kind of luck does Green Bay have? We can't even find one franchise quarterback. They've had 3 all-time greats back to back to back if Jordan Love is great, which who knows? Number 8, we got the Jags. It was always the Jags. It was always the Jags. The other night, everybody got excited about them playing the Bengals at home. This is where we're going to make our statement. And it was like the end of Scooby-Doo. When they took off the mask, it was like, oop, it was always the Jags. We thought it was the new Jags. We thought it was the Jags that were going to compete for something. It was always the Jags. It was just the Jaggy Jags. It was just the old Jaguars. Same old, same old. I think the Jaguars are going to be fine. I think they'll probably lose a couple of games down the stretch, but ultimately I see them, 11-6, 12-5, something like that. Maybe if they make the playoffs as a division winner, maybe they can afford a cart for their quarterback, the chick from Glee. Chiefs, number 7. I mean, they don't have no weapons outside of Kelsey. And Kelsey's great, but they have a mid-wide receiving core. And even with a generational quarterback and a generational tight end, it's hard to overcome not having that real threat on the outside. Number 6, the Detroit Lions. They got the much-needed win over New Orleans, especially when you get Green Bay and Minnesota kind of trying to make something of it. But you know what? You beat the Saints. You send a message that says, "Hey, you ain't gonna catch us. You ain't gonna catch us." Number 5, the Miami Dolphins. Speaking of not catching people, the Titans aren't going to be able to catch Tyreek Hill Monday night. Tyreek Hill, I'm telling you, 200 yards. 200 yards for Tyreek. 200 for Tyreek. Number 4, the Eagles. The Eagles. Gosh. Like, the Eagles. We do things different around here. Yeah. We get beat by the 49ers by 30 points. We do things different. Nick Sirianni, get out of here. This guy out here looking like Coach. You know who he acts like? Nick Sirianni acts like Coach JB from Last Chance U. You remember Coach JB from Independence or whatever university or junior college, when he come out there and just like act like he was anyway. Nick Sirianni reminds me of Coach JB. Number 3, the Ravens. I mean, they didn't play. They were on a bye this week. I mean, the Ravens, honestly, in the AFC right now, I don't know who I would trust any more than the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl. Like, I don't trust the Chiefs right now. Maybe the Dolphins. The Dolphins look good. I don't think a lot of people would trust the Jags right now. Any of those wild card teams, I don't think you could. Like, I think the Ravens are probably the most trustworthy team right now to come out of the AFC, either them or Miami. And I trust them more than Miami just because I trust Lamar Jackson more than I trust Tua. Top 2, number 2, the stupid Cowboys. I can't stand them, but, they keep winning. They finally beat a team over 500. It was an impressive win, and the Cowboys are contenders, and I hate every second of it. Number 1, the 49ers. I hate the Eagles and the Cowboys, and so I view the 49ers in the NFC. I view them as like my one great hope. My one great hope that could keep the Eagles and the Cowboys out of the Super Bowl is the 49ers. I will buy a Brock Purdy jersey if I have to get the 49ers over the hump of being better than the Eagles and the Cowboys. Let's make picks for this weekend. Real quick, Bucks-Falcons. Give me the Falcons. Better team than the Bucks. Colts-Bengals. Well, I do think that'll be close, by the way. I think Falcons, Bucks. Let's do score predictions. I'm going to say Falcons 16, Bucks 10. Let's go Colts, Bengals. I think Cincinnati's going to win this game. It's in Cincinnati. Browning, I think after doing what he did, he's going to be more confident. Give me the Bengals over the Colts, 23-20. Jags, Browns. I don't know what the status is of Brittany from Glee. Brittany, that's her name. It just flowed off the tongue. I don't know what the status is of Brittany from Glee, the quarterback for the Jags, but let me just pull up a picture of her. No, I don't have time. I think the Jags are going to win this game. I think the Jags are going to beat the Browns. Probably a low-scoring game because the Browns do have a great defense. I'm going to say Jags 14. No, more than that. Jags 17. Browns 9. Texans, Jets. I'll take the Texans here. Give me the Texans 24. The Jets 10. Rams, Ravens. Oh, now if the Rams win this one, you better look out. But I'm going to go with the Ravens. Coming off of a bye in Baltimore. They're 7.5-point favorites. I'm going to go with the Ravens beating the Rams. I think it'll be a good game. I'm going to say Ravens 31, Rams 26. Lions, Bears. I'm going to go with the Lions. Lions 35, Bears 17. Panthers against the Saints. I'll go Saints. Saints 21, Panthers 10. Vikings, Raiders. I'm going to go with the Vikings. I'm getting Jefferson back. I'm going to go Vikings 23, Raiders 13. Seahawks, Niners. Gosh, another tough one for Seattle. I'm going to go with the 49ers winning this one 28-20. Bills, Chiefs. Chiefs got to get it back on track. They're in Kansas City. I just refuse to believe Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Travis Kelce are going to lose this game after what happened last week. Give me the Chiefs in a 23-17 Chiefs. Broncos, Chargers. I'll take the Broncos 17-10. Eagles, Cowboys. God, can they both just beat each other to death? I'm gonna go Eagles. I think last week the Eagles getting whooped like that, I just don't think they're gonna come back and lose again. I'm gonna go with the Eagles over the Cowboys. Game of the weekend, 34-31 Eagles. Packers, Giants on Monday night. Give me the Packers 21-15. And then the Titans, Dolphins. The Dolphins are a 13-point favorite. That's about as lopsided as you'll see in the NFL. Dolphins are a 13-point favorite. I think the Dolphins are going to win. And I think the final score will be Dolphins 35, Titans 16. I'm gonna say Henry manages to score one touchdown, and then we'll kick a bunch of field goals, and Tyreek Hill will have, I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating, 200 yards for Tyreek Hill this Monday night. I'm telling you, I'm not just saying it as a figure of speech. 200 yards for Tyreek Hill Monday night. I feel it. Thank you guys for joining me. Hey, I do want to let you know real quick, because it's a Monday night game, I am going to be back Monday for an episode, but I'm going to do a special bonus episode on Tuesday because it's the day after the game. You got to do an episode the day after the game. So I'm going to be back Monday, and then I'm going to be back Tuesday as well for a bonus episode the day after the Titans-Dolphins Monday night game. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy you some football this weekend. I appreciate you very much, everybody. Tighten up. This is the Two Don't Talk podcast, staying way too high on the wins, way too low on the losses. Bye, everybody.
Feel free to be whoever you want to be. feel free. Feels like the world is picking